All right,
Love you, bro.
guys. Next up, I'm super hyped up because I got Aiden who just crushed it, right? You guys are just pumping me up. I got my boy Brendan from Andy Elliott Group. Guys, I'm bringing Brendan on for one reason. A lot of people are like, okay, he's not in contracting, but guess what? He's been coaching with me. He's been coaching me. He's been coaching other painting contractors. This guy has so much value to give. Like, you wouldn't even believe it, guys. And it's not just in sales, it's life, personal development, mindset, everything, all the above. So please understand that. My boy Brendan, I just don't want to take away from him. Brendan, hop on here so I can pin you and unmute yourself, my boy, and
Oh,
take it
baby.
away, my man.
Let's go. All right. Well, hey, real quick. First of all, shout out to Joel. He's the man. Let's do this real quick because, I was sitting back watching the call and, Aiden was dropping bombs. And, dude, everybody show some love. Like, let's get this freaking chat on fire. Like, I want to see 41 people in the chat. Like, if you're going to be here, be here. You know what I'm saying? Flick on the camera, get fired up. Like, let's go, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, dope. There we are. I was gonna say, dude, is the flooring industry better than the painting industry? Don't let it happen. Okay, okay. All right. So, first things first, guys. I want to say, I'm blessed. As Joel kind of told you, I'm not from the painting industry. It's not my background. However, I am a sales guy, and that's what this webinar is about. And here's the main thing, right? Like I'm a builder. I'm a builder of people. That's what we do at the LA Group, right? And that's what you guys are, and that's what you guys are to your teams and to your squads, right? And to your customers and everything else. So, I'm not really going to talk about processes, systems, because these guys are just like loading you up with everything you absolutely could ever need to succeed in the painting industry. What I'm going to offer you is a perspective that has helped me and served me in my life. So I'll fast forward just for a second, and I'm going to tell you my story for one reason. In case you're an underdog, okay? In case you're an underdog and you think that none of these strategies, none of this success these guys are talking about is possible for you, let me tell you where I come from, okay? Divorced parents at a young age, handful of different schools, house burnt down, poor. No one in my family made over 30, 40 grand a year. Was a drug addict from the age of 15 all the way to 20, 21 years old. And at 20 years old was when I decided I either had to end my life or claim my life, right? Maybe some of you can relate, but I hit a point when I was 20 when I decided if I have to go on another day, I'm going to off myself, like dead ass. So, and here's the first thing, and I've heard Joel say this before. Pain drives change. Okay? So I was talking to a business owner this morning, and he was talking about coming out to one of our events. And I said, hey, let me ask you this. 1 through 10, how uncomfortable are you with your current situation? He said 5. I said, okay, this call's not for you. He said, what do you mean? I said, bro, if you're not pissed off with where you're at, you're not going to change anyway. So we're wasting both of our times. Okay. So like all of you guys that are here, like the first thing I would tell you is you have to get pissed off with where you're at. Like the better than most mentality is literally gonna bankrupt you. Like you have to so the first step in change is awareness. Okay. It's awareness. It's actually getting real with where you're at right now. So I want to do an exercise. Okay. I do this every day. I want you to open up your Chase bank account. Okay. And I want you to look at it, and I want you to honestly ask yourself if it's equivalent to what you're actually worth. Okay? The answer is no. Okay? Most people, I always ask them this question. Do you believe you have the potential to make more money? Yes or no? Yes, I do. Then why aren't you? Okay? So I'm going to go back into my story. 20 years old, I said, screw it, I got to change my life. The first thing I did, you're not going to believe this, being that I work for Andy Elliott. I went to the gym and started working out. You know why? Because my self-respect was in the trash because I lied to myself every single day. So I started working out and I started to find my confidence. And then 6 months later, I found my way into car sales. the most credible job in the entire universe. I'm just kidding. I was at the bottom of the totem pole, right? People put me down there with like I told my parents, I said, guys, I'm a car salesman now. And they're like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what are you doing? So that's kind of what I was up against, right? And here's another little nugget I'll give you. You determine if your work is meaningful or not, right? Some people, you know why Aiden, Joel, Brad, Peach, these guys achieve at a high level? Because they view this shit as meaningful. You're just like, oh, I'm just running a painting business. And these guys, this is their life. This is their identity. You know what I mean? They're extremists. So I was sitting in car sales and 6 months went by and I still had that. I had two decisions. Old me, new me. Old me kept saying car sales isn't going to be the vehicle. You're never going to be anything. You need to go back, get a 9 to 5. But I had this little piece of hope in my mind that maybe this could make me successful. My 6th month, and this is where pain came back into my life, I was broke. I wasn't selling any cars. I just met my girlfriend. We've been together 6 months. She's now my fiance. The story ends good. Spoiler alert. And like I got my paycheck and it was $800. And we were going into December of 2020. My manager pulls me into the office. Now, a lot of you guys are really lucky because the culture in painting and from the painting businesses I've talked to is really good. The car lot is like a war zone, right? Like everybody hates you and shit like that. So my car sales manager pulls me into the side office and he goes, Brendan, you're a loser. I don't like you working here. I want to get you fired. If you don't sell 8 cars this month, you're fired. And I can't wait to see your face when I get to fire you. And I called my girlfriend on the way home and I said, you're not going to believe what this guy said to me. I think I'm just going to go get a 9 to 5. And I think I'm just going to go back to being average. Like maybe this life isn't for me. And she said a couple things. She said, you can't let him win. You got to prove him wrong. And I said, Roger that. Roger that, honey. I went on YouTube. This is where I became a genius. This is Albert Einstein shit, right? I looked up how to sell more cars on YouTube. And I find a video that says how to sell more cars in 30 days. And on accident that day, and this might be some of you guys on the call, I found a mentor. I found Andy. And I was like, Andy Elliott, this guy is in shape. He's got a great family and he sold cars. Maybe I can do it too. Like for the first time ever, I had a good influence on me, right? And what's the first thing he says? He said, listen, and I thought he was talking directly to me in a YouTube video. The people that come from nothing can end up with the most. And chills went down my spine and I was like, oh my God. Mind you, I'm living in a 300 square foot apartment that looks like Section 8, down the road from Section 8, right? And I'm driving a $2,000 car I'm making $500 a month payments on. So, I'm sitting there and I start consuming and I get obsessed, right? And what happened next is pretty much how we'll get into this training. So from there, I went psycho. I proved my boss wrong. I became the top salesman that month in that dealership. I made my first 5-figure paycheck. All of you guys can relate to what I'm about to say. When you get your first big paycheck, like when you make a new amount of money that you're unfamiliar with for the first time, or you break through a limiting belief, your identity shifts forever. Like a lot of you guys, I wish that you just got really, really lucky for 1 month and got to pay yourself $30,000 because you'd never walk the same again. It's like Joel says, there's 2 types of people. There's people that need to see it to believe it, and there's people that believe it so they can see it. And so many of you guys, like I find on these calls, I do a lot of these calls, right? I do a lot of these Zoom calls for different industries. The painting industry is one of my favorites. Come on, let's go. And I noticed that like I can just tell, like Andy always tells me, the eyes are the window to the soul. And I can look in some of your guys' souls and I can see that you're just kicked back. You're not really engaged. Like you don't really, I would, if some of you told me, I'm going to take this information and go become a millionaire in a couple of years, I wouldn't buy it. You wouldn't have me sold. And that would tell me that you're not sold on yourself yet. So when I got that 5-figure paycheck, I said, maybe I could. Maybe I could be the guy that goes and makes $100,000. I had a call with Gio when I was leaving, and I said, hey, last month went pretty good. I think I could make $100,000 this year. And then that year, I didn't make $100,000. I made almost $200,000. The following year, made $300,000. And then I moved and started working for Andy, and I've been consulting with companies for the past 3 years now, and I've become an almost 7-figure year earner in sales, right? Now I'm going to go back one more time. You know where I come from, okay? So I want to give you, before we hop off here, like, got a little bit of time. I'm going to give you guys a couple of gems of mindset that have served me along the way, okay? Because here's the thing, right? Regardless of where you come from, anything like that, you can have it as long as you just obey, follow the path. The path has already been laid, okay? I always say this, right? I fear the most the guy who's the most coachable and the most hungry. That's the person I fear the most, is the person who, if you're coachable, you're dangerous. It's a rare commodity in today's world to be coachable. They say the more powerful, the faster you can go from idea to execution, the more dangerous you are. So your goal should be to execute faster than anybody in the history of mankind. Okay. So I want you guys to write this down. This is the first thing that we're gonna train on. Know your process. Okay. Know your process. And I'm going to break it down. So I've sat back and I've watched for the past couple of days. I've watched all the guys yesterday and Aiden today lay out the whole play. You want to know why? Okay. You want to know why? If I got into the painting industry, I'm confident that I could build a 7-figure business within a year with these guys' help, because I follow the plan and I have no leashes in my brain. Right. And I would go into it knowing the numbers. So here's my first thing that I'll tell you. The first question I ask somebody when I want to learn from them is I go, what's your process? Okay. They say it's better to know why you failed. It's better to fail and know why than to win and not know why. Okay. So all I want to know, like, I want to see everybody's process. Okay. And I just want to study it. And I also know this. So I got to give, like, one of the reasons that I'm forever grateful for the Elliott Group, Andy, and everything he's done for me is because a good leader will, like, inspire you to be better. And since the day I got here, so let me fast forward. Let me put myself in your guys' shoes real quick. So you got to imagine, I moved out to Arizona 3 years ago to join Andy Elliott's sales team. I was making $25,000 a month selling cars. Here's what I told myself. I'm doing better than most. Okay. So you know what happened to me when I started working for Andy? I immediately started making $300,000 a year. And then I completely plateaued because that was my identity, right? Like, it's like they say the thermostat and the thermometer. Okay. My identity was 300,000. And then Andy kept saying to me all the time, he's like, Brendan, I see this in you. I know you can do this, blah, blah, blah. We started doing spiffs. Okay. About a couple months ago, I won a Rolex for 50,000 for putting up $500,000 in revenue in a single month for the Elliott Group, right? Being the #1 producer. But we used to do these spiffs for Breitling watches long before this guy came along. And Andy, one month, he goes, Brendan, like, this month we're doing a Breitling spiff. We're going to give you a $20,000 Breitling watch if you hit your goal. And I didn't hit the goal that month, and a couple of my teammates did. And it pissed me off because they started after me, and I'm competitive, right? And that's what I'm driven by. I'm driven by madness. Okay. So the next month, pain came back into my life. And have you noticed a trend? Let me give you a little bump. You'll always perform your best when your back's against a wall. If you want to really see your full potential, put your back against a wall. I know all of you can remember a time when, like, you were going psycho mode. And the thing is, when I look at the people on this call, most of you, like, you're fired up and you're here for like some inspiration, like a piece of hope, but, like, you need to put your back against a wall. Like, you need to get pissed off. You know what I mean? So I got pissed off that month, and I go, you know what? I said, here's what I did. I go, okay, how much work do I need to put in that it would be unreasonable for me not to hit my goals? That it would literally be impossible for me not to hit my goals. I said, I found my KPIs in my business, and I go, okay, calls, conversations, offers, and closes. I go, how many of each one of those would I have to make in order for it to be physically impossible for me to hit my goals? I followed the plan. I work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Sometimes we got to do it. And I hit the goal. I broke through. And to this day, I've become the number one producer in the company because of, I knew my process. I identified the KPIs and I put in so much work. I outworked my self-doubt. I had self-doubt, low limiting beliefs. And I knew if I could just break through and hit this next level that I'd never go back. Like one thing that too many people do, I see, is it's like the thermostat and the thermometer. They heat up and then they change back. They heat up and then they change back. You need to like strategically surround yourself with people so that way you get disgusted with who you used to be. I can confidently tell you I'll never go back to who I used to be because I hated that person. See, I used to fall for the trap that short-term things that satisfy you, drinking, drugs, going out, things like that. I used to fall for that and think that that's what success is. But once you get smart enough, you realize that the hard stuff is what you actually want. That's what you really want to pursue. That's what actually makes you great. And along with that, with like the poisons, the small poisons and the pleasures, I'll tell you one thing that you guys should live your life by. Okay. I asked Patrick Bet David, I said, what kills more business owners than anything else? He said, flattery. He said, you know, one thing I never want people to do when they start coming up to me and praising me, he goes, don't flatter me. I don't want it. I don't want flattery. See, a lot of people are like telling their story, their background story, and they're like, yeah, I'm making 20, 30K a month. Like I'm doing better than most. And it's like, dude, don't flatter. I don't want flattery, dude. I don't want that. So number one, know your process. Number two, love this one. Love it. Love it. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're fired up. If you're not fired up now, like I'm going to jump through the screen and I'm going to figure out a way to fly you and put you in a chokehold of success. Okay. All right, good. I see a shit ton of ones. These painters really are better than the flooring guys. Hell yeah. Let's go. All right. Next one. Question every belief you have. Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple things. One, there's a quote that goes like this. We question every belief we have except for the ones we believe the most. Okay. Because there's a performance equation for success, and it goes like this. Knowledge minus leashes equals performance. Okay. You have the knowledge, undoubtedly. If you've been taking notes for the past 2 days, you have a lot of knowledge. What you don't have, what's going to hold you back, is the leashes in your brain. So I work with a guy personally. This guy's worth $500 million. No joke. He's one of my personal clients. And he's sitting down in a meeting, me, him, and Andy. And the guy's like, Andy, I want to do what you've done. I want to build a coaching business like you. And Andy goes, dude, no doubt you're smarter than me. Let me show you something. The reason that I'm beating you, the reason that I have what you want and you don't have it, knowledge, you're a 10 out of 10. I'm a 2 out of 10. Leashes, you're a 0 out of 10 and I'm a 10 out of 10. I have none. I have no leashes. I have no limiting beliefs around what I'm capable of. And what are leashes? Self-image. Old stories that you tell yourself about what you're capable of. See, how many of you still go like this? Like there's this exercise that Dean Graziosi taught me. It's called seven levels deep. If you want to figure out what's really holding somebody back, you ask them 7 times why. Bro, what do you want? I want to be a millionaire. Why? Because this. Why? Because of my family. Why your family? Because I grew up bad. Why this? Why that? Okay? How many of you guys are still going, the reason that I'm not successful is because, bro, you already lost. You're never going to make it. I swear to God, the minute you become a millionaire is the minute that word, that whole sentence leaves your mouth. The reason that I'm not where I'm at, I want to be, is because of me. That's the reason I'm not where I want to be. And then you know what happens when you start to do that? You start to get pissed off. And then you start to grow. Following the getting mad is you start growing. Okay? Does that make sense? Y'all following? Are we tracking or are we slacking? Which one? I want to know. All right, dope. Okay. One more. One more I'm going to talk about real quick. Maybe two more if I'm not long-winded, because I talk a lot. And honestly, for me to go under 30 minutes is going to be an accomplishment for me. Okay. So next one is this: control your state. So one thing that I love about Joel is that he knows how to control his state. Like he talks about, like, he's very interested in psychology and mindset. Okay. So there's this thing called the frequency ladder. I would encourage all of you to look it up. When we get off here, look up the frequency chart. Okay. There's a book on it. The book's called Force versus Power. Great book. Would highly recommend. Okay. And basically, it's a chart. And at the bottom of the chart is these negative emotions like jealousy, envy, fear, doubt, judgment, things like that. And up here at the top, in the very top, is things like abundance, joy, happiness, fulfillment. And I think the problem with most contractors is that they live at the bottom of the frequency chart. Okay. And you know why? It's because your self-development is lacking. That's it. It's your self-development. I tell contractors a couple things, right? Every business owner I talk to, especially if they're low energy like me, like I'm typically a lower energy guy. But I made a rule with myself. I'm not going to pretend and be somebody I'm not and like have over the top energy, just freaking like, throwing shit. I just try to bump it 10% from my normal. So I would challenge all of you. I guarantee you I'll increase your closing percentage by 25% this week. Go out and try to be 10% more energetic and more loving than you normally are. Just 10%, no crazy stuff. And just try it out. And I promise you're going to get better results. The most powerful thing you can do as a salesperson is shift someone's state. That's the most powerful thing you can do. Like I know all of you can remember a time when you were having a record month. You were having a record month and you walk into an appointment and you feel like it just flowed. It just flowed like water. And you're like, dude, I wish I could do this all the time. So all you have to do is learn to master your state. And that goes back to something that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to hear, but it's like personal development. You know what I mean? Couple ways I'd recommend the leaning into your personal development is a couple things. Get around the right people. The right people will keep your frequency right. What did they say? I bet y'all can fill in the blank. Your frequency is what you frequently see. A lot of you guys are surrounded by people with freaking trash can brains. That's the curse of like not being a part of a big team, and you got to intentionally put yourself inside of masterminds and things like that. Okay. All right, listen, I'm going to stop right there because I know Joel's got a ton of value for you guys. Okay. He's got a ton of value. The last thing I would say to wrap this up, I'd say a couple things. Okay. One, let me tell you the couple greatest things I ever did in my life. Okay. One of them was finding the right woman to have by my side. Okay. That was one. Okay. That's not what this call pertains to. However, you should consider that if you don't have one. Most of you, you probably do have one that your loved one. You already got that figured out. Let's assume that's taken care of. Let me tell you the second thing that changed my entire life that has allowed me, because here's the thing, is age what you should look at, or time and experience what you should look at when you determine who your mentor is? I mean, experience is important, no doubt. But if you look at someone and you see how fast they've gotten there, that should tell you a lot, right? I have a million more levels. I am at ground zero compared to where I want to go. I don't consider myself doing better than most. I'm making more money than I ever thought possible, and in my bloodline ever times 100. And I think I'm broke as fuck because my standards are that high. But I've been able to do what I've done really, really, really fast. Why? Because I had a mentor. Okay. So I heard an analogy. This is how Andy closed me when he became my mentor. And I paid him a couple $1,000, ended up paying him $20,000, $30,000 to coach me while I was in car sales. He told me, Brendan, I look at coaching like it's like a drone. Like, I remember I was at my house one day and my buddy came over and he had a drone. My neighborhood, he came over to my house in my neighborhood that I've lived in for the past 30 years. And my buddy goes, hey man, come outside. Let's fly this drone and take some pictures of your neighborhood. And I go outside. He flies the drone over my house. And I'm shocked of what I see. I see the camera and I see things in my neighborhood I didn't see before. I see lanes that I see, like little roads that I didn't know existed. I see houses that I didn't even know were out here. And I realized in that moment that having a mentor is like having the drone, like having someone with a 10,000-foot view that can see things you can't. When you're in the fight, you miss all these, you have so many blind spots. And the way that a coach helps you is he points out your blind spots and tells you exactly what you need to do. And we call that turning decades into days. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. So I'll wrap up with this. I have nothing to sell here. I'm here for Joel. I'm here for Aiden. I'm here for the painting community. The painting community has been really, really good to me. I'm very grateful for all these guys. I'm extremely grateful for Joel. He's one of my best friends. I would freaking like trust my life with this dude. Okay. And I've been around, I've seen a lot of guys, I've seen a lot of phonies, and I've seen a lot of people who are the real deal, and he's the real deal. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do something crazy. And anybody, I think he's going to talk about like some of his programs and stuff like that. If you guys join Joel's program, I'll give you a free ticket to one of our events. I'll give you a free ticket to our event with David Goggins we got coming up at the end of this month out here in Scottsdale, Arizona. So I won't go through the whole details, but just know these tickets are like $2,000. If you join whatever he's going to talk about, you got a free ticket. I'll handle it. I'll take the flack from Andy. I'll take the beating. Okay. For you. All right. So I'm gonna wrap up. Joel, you can take it away. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you guys, man.
Oh my gosh, guys, listen to that. Brendan, thank you so much, brother. Like, free David Goggins tickets, guys. Just so you know, I know a little bit more about those details. They're doing it big. Like, this isn't at the Lions Den. It's at a different facility. There's a lot of people, a lot of energy. A lot of guys from the Brotherhood have been hitting me up online too and been telling me they're going. Like, if you want to network, thank you. First of all, I didn't know you were going to do that. So he threw me off for surprise. But guys, just so you know too, real quick, I want to tie this back in real fast. Notice what I said about Aiden. Watch what I'm going to say about Brendan right now. I talked to a lot of guys, and I haven't been networking in so long. When I talked to Brendan a while ago, I was in this rut that I maxed out of my leadership training. And Brendan re-kicked that up for me, and we just hit it off immediately. And he was just like, bro, you could do this, you could be doing this. And we just connected so well that he lit this fire in me, right, guys? So that's why we have this community, because we're helping building and keep growing. So guys, take advantage of this. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're out there with the big dogs. The last thing I want to say real quick too about Brendan, if you guys noticed on the chat, he referenced PBD. He referenced Dean Graciosi. Guys, he's sitting here with guys that are in the personal development space. Literally what he said, decades. He just dropped free knowledge for you guys in private rooms he's sitting in with these guys just talking to him. Like, you pay for that kind of stuff to even get that kind of advice. So I dropped it in the chat. Guys, follow Brendan too, man. He's always dropping knowledge, and I really trust him so much. That's why I work with him till this day. Like I told you, he's not only my coach, he's a friend of mine. Like, we text each other, how are you doing? How's it going? Like, it's not about business all the time. It's about love and respect and growing, a friendship that we have. So, Brendan, thank you for blessing us so much tonight and being on this call, my man. Thank you so much, bro. You guys got me excited. Love you too, brother. Appreciate you, my dog. Man, so all right, guys, I hope you're ready.